super excited. Farm to table, here we come. Is Graham Magee on deck? Oh yeah. Hold on. If I had a spoon, I'd be digging into this nut. It's non-peanut butter peanut butter. So we'll have Graham explain non-peanut butter peanut butter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so
Graham.
Hey Graham, thank you so much. What a fantastic guest here with us. Oh man, we've got Graham from Bloom-Hemp. Not only do you have like these alternatives to the peanut butter that Denise has been eating, I've been eating the hemp hearts behind the scene as well. We've used the balms. I mean, just the whole product line, and it's been wonderful. In fact, we did the
balm is insane.
When we had your farm tour last time as well. And oh my gosh, it's just wonderful, wonderful. So to have you back on again, and exciting to have you tell us about, like, you know, some of the products and everything. Share those with you.
So for those people that don't know, Graham has been in the industry since literally day one. We've known each other that long. We've seen the ups and downs in the industry, and we've seen it evolve to where it is today. So Graham, do you want to give people a little bit of background on your history in the industry and how you got involved with Bloom-Hemp?
Yeah, I'll give a quick background, and thank you again for the intro. It's fun to come full circle with this through you guys, and fun to see how we went from, you know, the initial pre-production and soil, and then went through the farming, and now we're wrapping up with the finished goods side. So it's fun to be able to be involved with that on all three levels. You know, it's been awesome to work with you guys through all three. So, but for those who didn't watch 1 and 2, my name is Graham Magee. I am a co-owner of Bloom-Hemp. I'm the COO over there, and we're having fun at Bloom. We like to take a bit of a different approach to CBD, and as Denise said, I've been doing this a long time now. Denise and I worked together in the early stages at a company, and really got to be involved on the ground level to watch things kind of grow to where they are now. And you know, they were kind of the trailblazers in a sense with understanding what is CBD, you know, because before that we were all trying to figure out what it was, what it did, who it affected. And that's kind of what we're circling back to at Bloom is those keynotes, because, you know, Denise, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but in the early days, the focus was on healing and how to use this properly. And I think not that the focus isn't on that now in today's time, but I think we've kind of strayed away from that. CBD has become this big, huge celebrity now of a supplement, and it's in absolutely everything, which is fun because now we have more people using it. But we want to take that step back and say, okay, this is great. Now we're getting all the notoriety we want, but let's make sure people are using this appropriately and people know how to use this product. So I think with us, the most important thing is really understanding the use and when to use it and why to use it. So what I want to do is just get into some of our products here. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell. So I've been in the industry since day one, like Denise said, went from company to company. So bulk oil and bulk materials was our focus in the early stages. And then we kind of got into the finished goods side of things where we can really achieve what we wanted to do this whole time, which was to get it to a supplement for all, not just a supplement for people with needs and with ailments. So what I wanted to do, if you guys are okay with it, is just kind of go over where we are now and talk about kind of the finished side of things, and go through the products, some of our infographics, and I do have a special guest that's going to be joining us here towards the tail end as well that we just brought on board that we want to announce too.
Absolutely. The floor is yours.
All right. So what I would love to do is share my screen. let me just share this here. Oh, actually, give me one sec here, guys. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, all good. Thank you so much.
All right, so we're looking at a what is sprouting infographic here. Now, the infographic that we're looking at here is key to what Bloom is trying to achieve. So, as you guys said, we're doing something very unique and very different, where we want to raise awareness to not only hemp products on the CBD side, but hemp as a whole. So with the hemp sprouting side of things, we want to create foods. Some of the foods you guys have had are the peanut butters, the hemp hearts, and we're actually working on a sprouted hemp seed oil too that'll be a finisher for dressing. But we don't just want to stop there. We want to introduce this into our supplement line and use the sprouted hemp seed oil as a base for our products because it's just more efficient. And here's why. So this is kind of why sprouting is important. When you first have a grain or a seed, it's got a protective shell on it. So when you sprout that, you're kind of cracking away at that protective shell and you're getting access to those nutrients. So you're getting an increase of protein, it's decreasing any phytic acids and anti-nutrients that might be in the plant or in the seed. It helps break down with gluten in the stomach. It helps absorb antioxidants and enzymes, and it increases the fiber intake. So there's a lot of good things happening in here. And the reason why we create these infographics is because people don't know. You know, they see sprouted hemp seed butter and they're like, well, what's the point of this? Why is it sprouted? So Bloom is on the forefront of educating as well, which is why these infographics are important to us. So you can see kind of down on the bottom here, we have a seed on the right side that's just kind of hanging out. It's tough to break down in the stomach. When it's sprouted, you're going to be able to release all those nutrients and all those minerals much, much easier. So now I want to get into a bit of, we're going to skip through some of this stuff, but just introducing the product. So we've got some interesting stuff happening at Bloom. I know we talked about this very quickly on the last one, but we're doing a brand new essential line. And we've actually launched this essential line now. We have a calming formula, an essential formula, and a pain relief formula that we've introduced. And what our focus is on this is kind of going away from broad spectrum, full spectrum, and introducing something new that is based on ailment. So targeting digestion, targeting sleep, targeting pain relief. When you start to go away from broad spectrum and full spectrum, you go away from the argument, well, what's better for me? And that's the biggest obstacle that people try to overcome is which one should I use? Should I use a full spectrum? Is a full spectrum really full of everything they say it is? In most cases, no, and we'll touch upon that later today. So we really want to take a step back and say, okay, how are we going to be able to create products that can efficiently do what we say they do? And that's where we introduced the essential line to our clientele and our customers. So really exciting stuff with the essential line. As you can see, our natural ingredients here on the calming, our base is the sprouted hemp seed oil. That is the base to all of our essential blends. And we find that important because it helps increase the availability of all these amazing botanicals that we put in. So I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, but I do want to focus on one here to show you guys kind of what we're doing. Instead of just putting melatonin in a group, oh, we got a special guest here. Instead of putting melatonin in a tincture and saying it's a sleep tincture or a calming tincture, we really wanted to go back and focus on herbs and botanicals that really work harmoniously together to give you that calming effect, but also help you sleep at night, and products that make sense with CBD and how CBD functions in the body. So products like California poppy oil, hops, lemon balm, French lavender, all on their own, we know these are great for calming, but when you add them all together, and add CBD, they make a pretty potent calming tincture. Pain relief. We're looking at products like turmeric, ginger, black seed oil, and biopurine. Now, biopurine is actually interesting. It's a product that's made from a company called Sabinsa, and it is essentially pepperine, so black pepper extract, and it helps increase the bioavailability of other products. So this one is a really high functioning tincture that we have out there. And this is our essential pain relief tincture. Now, what makes these tinctures unique too is we don't just have CBD in these products, and we don't just put our full spectrum into these products. We actually make sure the profiles are beefed out. So for this specific product, we added 200 milligrams of CBG in there. For the CBN product that we have, we added that to our calming tincture. So it's got CBN in the tincture as well, because we all know that these cannabinoids, they have different functions now. So by adding all the cannabinoids together and really balancing out that blend, it's going to be more effective. And we'll let our special guest touch more upon that as well. This is our brand new essential morning tincture. So we've got the morning and evening tincture here. Sorry, these are the roll-ons. And then this just goes back to our classic line. So this is the line that you guys are familiar with, right, Denise? The organic tinctures. So one thing I wanted to show you guys with organic tinctures, and I think that's important for the viewers out there because we are talking about finished goods. There's a lot of claims out there for organic products. A lot of these claims are exactly those. They're claims. Now, they don't understand what it takes to actually get full organic certification. They may buy organic material, put it in their product, and develop a product and claim that's organic. That's not actually the way it works, unfortunately. What we've done at Bloom is we set up steps from beginning of our farming all the way to the end of our finished products to create an organic product. And the big question is, how do you know and how do you test these products? First thing I would always do is when you're buying a product that claims USDA certification, you want to ask for documentation. Now, if they can't give you documentation or they don't have documentation, but they do say we are organic, we just don't have documentation with our name on it, that's usually the case. It might be under a different manufacturer. The simple solution to that, and let me know if you guys can still see my screen, is you can go to the USDA database. This is all public information. All you have to do is you go to this website right here. So it's organic.ams.usda.gov, and I can give you guys this link if you'd like. And you go down to the operator here and you type in who you're looking for. Boom. There you go. And it'll tell you they're certified. We're in Littleton, Colorado. We have our handling license. And when you click on this, you can actually see, I believe, the products too that are certified. So here we go. So our full spectrum hemp extract, our citrus flavor, our natural flavor, and our extracts at 40 meg and 20 meg. So all of our organic products have to be individually certified. And this is how you figure that out. So I think this is really key when consumers are buying, because consumers are getting smarter and they're starting to ask the question, but we want to be able to show them how to look out for these things because it's important. If someone says they're using an organic material, but then they put in other botanicals or flavoring that is non-organic, and maybe those don't pass organic standards, it's a false claim and you're leading your customers down a false road. So I think it's important to double check with who you're buying from. If you love the product, ask for documentation. We gladly show all of our documentation on our quality and testing page. And you can simply test out, find your batch, enter it in here, and your brand new COA will pop up. The other thing that we do is, I know in the early stages, at least I had some issues with it, and Denise, I don't know if you guys did too, but COAs can be confusing. If you go to our website, we tell you how to read a COA, what everything means and what to look for. So you never have to worry about someone sending you a COA hoping that you won't understand it and you'll just take it for what it is. Now you can understand what everything actually means on that COA because it's important. Getting back to the product line here, let me find myself. Oops. Where are we at here?
Graham, if I can interrupt, we weren't able to see the screens that you were talking about, so just want to.
Oh, you weren't?
No, so just want to make sure that they all saw that. It was kind of it was stuck on the essential line. Sorry. So
you're just looking at the essential line. Okay.
Yeah. So just want to just go back just real quick to show them.
Let me stop my share here.
Okay.
So well, thank you for that. No worries.
It's important.
Yeah, I'll put the website link. So what essentially I was going through there, guys, is just the importance of checking. So we just want to make sure that when we sell our products, our customer has every opportunity to see every last bit of paperwork. I will put up the organic link over to Denise and Jessica to make sure you guys have that, and you guys can post that on any of the info for the CANNA World Expo.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah. And then what I'd like to do now is kind of introduce our special guest here, Dr. Sunil Pai. We brought Dr. Sunil Pai on informally. I've known Dr. Sunil for about 5-6 years now. We've been good friends. We've been working together on a lot of different projects, but formally we brought him on as Bloom's Chief Medical Officer just last month, and we are super happy and super excited to have him part of the team. He is responsible for the formulas behind the Bloom Essential line. I'll let him briefly talk a little bit about his background and what he brings to the table, and why we trust him on the Bloom Essential line. So Sunil, if you'd like, maybe tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what we're doing here at Bloom and why it's important to show the differences of our essential lines versus full spectrums. Talk a little bit about dosing, and while you do that, I can bring up those infographics.
Sure. So just real quick about myself, I'm an integrative medicine physician, MD here. I was one of the first formally trained integrative fellowship trained physicians here in the United States 20 years ago with Andrew Weil at the University of Arizona. Since then, and subsequently, I've trained in homeopathy, homotoxicology, herbal medicines, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, and a whole bunch of other things, plant-based nutrition. And our goal is just, we have a successful integrative medicine clinic here in Albuquerque called Sangevany Integrative Medicine Health and Lifestyle Center. I've actually met Graham way early in the industry when he was at one of these companies, and I've been someone who's been providing a lot of medical consultancy to a lot of these CBD and hemp companies that you may be well aware of. There was a disconnect that I've seen, though. Many people like Graham early in the industry, they were looking at source and supplying on the side, and I was always called in for like the medical aspect, and I was always disappointed because many of these companies over time weren't looking at the healing aspects of the product. They were looking at just commodities trading, as call it, or kind of penny traders, as we used to call it. And as a physician, as I see patients every day in our clinic, I wasn't seeing the full benefits as I might read in the literature. And I think on Graham, on the other side, and some of the companies that he worked for as well, they would see like, okay, we're trying to source something. Why can't we get better products? And the focus was never there. So over many years, we keep touching base in different companies. I think trying to provide consultancy. And then, I think the frustration was like, why can't we just grow it organically? And why can't we just formulate ourselves? I formulate a full line of product myself that we have clinical tests and studies and patents on. And so, from bringing my background, and then once Graham was able to, with Tom, with Bloom, actually get, USDA organic certification here, grown in the USA, Colorado. And if you see the farms, it's beautiful. And then looking at like taking my expertise of what we do is we take a look at the plant profile. So from a physical standpoint and a medical standpoint, I do what we call cannabis forensics. And we look at the CBD profile of certain cannabis strains that we see in the literature, in the science, that will show certain profiles of this strain will have these CBD compounds. And even further, we look at further analysis of looking at the smaller terpene profiles. And so what we've been able to do is based on the clinical research and the data of showing support of these components, is that we then mimic and we make sure that profile is kind of matching exactly what would be in nature, but coming from hemp. So we can fill in the gaps where we need to, but we're actually giving targeted clinical effects. So something that's for sleep will definitely provide sleep benefits, versus everybody right now in the industry will say, here's a hemp oil product or a CBD product, and claim that it's going to work for everything. And that's the misinformation of understanding plant medicine. We have to treat it as a medicine and understand that these medicines have certain profiles. So, with this graphic here, we can see that just a few of the simple terpenes that we look at is that each terpene has itself its own clinical benefit. Say some of them are anti-inflammatory, some of them have sedative effects, some of them have more cognitive, neurological, like alertness and focus, and some of them can be like antibacterial and have, again, more sedative product properties as well. So we looked at the plants of the cannabis plants, and we said, okay, can we take this organic sprouted based hemp oil, which is the most nutritious form that we can get, and then kind of make sure that the CBD profile is there, making sure that, when people are making claims of full spectrum or broad spectrum, what is actually there, and then can we then further add the terpenes in there. And one other thing that we did with the essential lines is that with my my certification and expertise in herbal medicine, then we looked at what kind of herbs that we use in this medical practice. Adding just those ingredients by themselves have benefits, but then when you add the terpenes with it and you add the right CBD with it, there's a synergy between all of these, sometimes filling the gaps where the plant may not have it, and then also complementing it where it needs to be. So we're really getting what I call the PPSE approach. This is something that I bring to Bloom all the time: is potency, purity, safety, and efficacy. So I teach my clients, I teach my patients every day, when they look at our product, even if it's a dietary supplement, we need to ask for a certificate of analysis. I want to see the full profile of the plant, what the CBD, what the terpenes are there, and also importantly, is it tested for hundreds of pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, mycotoxins, and other kind of chemical contaminants. If we can show that, and that's what we do expertly here at Bloom, then we can provide an amazing product. The problem is most industry, the products can't show that. And so, we will have for each product, they can scan the product. This is something that when I joined Bloom, I was kind of really pushing them to do this, because this meets my standards of what I recommend for my patients, is that we can actually check the cannabis profile. We can check all the CBD compounds. We can check, if it's a broad spectrum or a full spectrum. So someone says, hey, I want 0 of this, we can actually show them. I have a lot of federal employees that I see as patients, so they have to be 0 THC. So we have a whole line that's 0 THC, and we can actually provide them the certification so they can feel comfortable when they take these products for their health, and then also the full spectrum. But then when we add the certificate analysis, looking at again heavy metals, contaminants, pesticides, herbicides, then we can understand that this is a safe and effective natural plant medicine. I think Marvin mentioned before, like, we want to respect plant medicines, but this industry is not, although he said it's somewhat regulated, it's not really regulated, because just like dietary supplements, there's a looseness in the industry, and we want to make sure that, again, potency, purity, safety, efficacy is delivered to our patients and our customers, because this is what, at the end of the day, what I'm bringing to Bloom, and what I think Bloom is bringing to the market, is a higher standard of efficacy and a higher standards of quality and safety, that we can ensure that this is actually plant medicines. And if we use it accordingly, then this will push, I think, the broad spectrum of the public perception of CBD or plants or hemp into a positive light, not a negative light. And we have to then ensure that it is going to give those benefits, not just celebrity endorsements, but actually true clinical science and true clinical benefits.
Yeah, and I think another thing that is important that we touch on today too is dosing, and serving sizes, or as we should say, serving sizes in this space. It's important to understand that it's not all one serving size fits all in this space. And that's something that we took near and dear at Bloom, is understanding, okay, well, what if someone's using this for a calming purpose, or what if someone's using this to help with some aches and pains? Well, we wanted to break that down, and I'll bring up another infographic here, and we can kind of go over that, Sunil, one as well, just on the importance of understanding why you're using CBD. What are you using it for? Because it could be something totally different than what your friend is using it for, or what your mom is using it for, or what your son is using it for, your daughter. And it's important to understand what you're using it for before you try to figure out how much you need to use and when to use it.
Yeah, one of the things that we'll be doing is that we're going to have a large amount of educational content on the website, question and answers that customers and other fellow healthcare practitioners can ask. And the areas that I've been focusing on the last 6 years specifically is understanding the scientific aspects of the endocannabinoid system and how it actually works neurologically, physiologically, immunologically, metabolically, functionally. And so when we look at receptors, for example, receptors have what they call downregulation and upregulation. And depending on the state of the individual, the healthier you are, those receptors are actually downregulated. They're like in a sleeping state. This will be in some of the materials that will be on our website in a little bit more in detail. But in short, is that when people actually have an active chronic issue, those receptors are actually upregulated. They're actually active, and they're actually the body's trying to self-stimulate its immune system function to repair. So what that means is that when people sometimes have more crises or more chronic conditions, actually less is needed to actually have the potential benefits of what the stimulating your own endocannabinoid system is fighting, fixing, and repairing itself. And so we have to look at it as it's not a one size fits all or more is better approach, which many people in the industry for the last 8 years and still today will say like, oh, if you have pain, you need to take 10 times more, or if you have a serious condition like a cancer or seizures, you might take no more. In fact, we're seeing that right now in the clinical aspects of using this in thousands of patients right now over the last 6 to 8 years is looking at smaller, more frequent doses, and also looking at body size, body mass, metabolic functions, whether someone has diabetes or not. So you can see with these simple graphics, we will give ideas of how to slowly dose it, starting with smaller, lower, more frequent doses, and then dosing it weekly up to what we call tolerance, or to the point where we're getting the clinical benefit. And if we're actually getting some other issues, then we're always looking at backing it down. But it's different, CBD, since we're talking about hemp, and we're talking about, and it's almost like an immunotherapy in a way. It's small doses that are really needed to actually have these larger physiological benefits. And the industry keeps on, pushing like grams and grams and grams of, and that was just more from a marketing standpoint of selling product. But we're trying to sell patient outcomes and deliver those outcomes to our clients and customers. And so this is something that, with these guidelines and infographics, again, we're trying to make everything super simple, but we'll also have the scientific data and the information also on the website for those healthcare practitioners or people who want to go in a deeper dive to understand how these products work.
Awesome. So, just to add to that is, I think for us at Bloom, we're super excited to have Sunil on board, and we're going to keep releasing products like this. I don't think we're going to see any more products that are just CBD coming out from Bloom. We're always going to make sure we're doing something that is functional and pushing the barrier on what we can do with CBD and how we can introduce it to people. The other thing, and the last kind of part of this education that I wanted to touch on today, is something new we're working on, and it just shows people the difference between our essential line and full spectrum products that are out there. And I really want to touch on this because it's important to note that companies that claim full spectrum, in the most part, are saying that there is THC in the product. To us, that is not full spectrum. And that's why we want to get away from saying full spectrum at Bloom. We want people to understand that our products are full of different terpenes, different cannabinoids, and we have a big profile. But full spectrum, broad spectrum, these are being thrown around and used inappropriately, we feel. So we want to kind of push away from that. And the last one I want to just show here is something that we'll release here in the next couple months. And it is a comparison chart. So you guys can see here what we're working on with our essential line. These three here on the left side, if you can still see my screen, are our essential lines. You can see all the terpenes we have, and you can see these are three of the top selling full spectrum products that are out there today. Obviously, we won't name them, but they do claim to be full spectrum. This one doesn't even have terpenes showing up on their COA. Here are some of the cannabinoids that we have. We have all the major cannabinoids in most of our products. Some of the full spectrum products out there, they're missing CBG, CBN, CBDV, CBC. These are important cannabinoids to have in there if you want to claim you truly are full spectrum. So in the end, we're working on some really unique things. We're bringing on the right people in place to really create some cutting edge material here at Bloom. And I just want to thank you guys again for letting us be a part of CANNA World. It's been a fun experience through the beginning to the end till now. And we're really excited to be involved in it moving forward as well.
And what I would like to say at the very end is that aside of the wonderful hemp oil products that Bloom has, is that we're looking at it as a hemp lifestyle. So with the nut butters that we have made from hemp, I'm one of the peanut allergy kids. Okay, so this was like when I was been pushing them for a long time, and it was kind of early stages. Like, oh, why don't you look at building a food product, food line? Like, because our goal is to increase the awareness of hemp and the use of hemp products. And sometimes it's through the food aisle, right? It's just through parents or people that have food allergies, for example, nut allergies, that they can use a spread. They can use it just like a peanut butter. It tastes really delicious. You've tried it, I'm assuming. So I use it all the time. And the idea is that maybe they feel more comfortable. Okay, this might take away some of this misinformation about what hemp or CBD or some of these other things that are just kind of related to that. And hopefully it brings them to say, wow, this is a food that's nutritious, high in fiber, high in protein, antioxidants, and omega-3s. And then what about this other part of the plant? Oh, there's other types of benefits and other uses. So it's a great complement using food as medicine and other parts of the plant as plant medicines.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Denise.
Hey.
Wow, what an incredible day it's been so far. I mean,
I know. And what a gem. Oh my gosh. Graham told me he was going to have a special guest. I didn't know it was going to be Dr. Pai. Wow. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. He's a rock star in the industry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you, Graham, for bringing the doctor in for today. We're so thrilled.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for giving us the opportunity.
It's great to partner with you, my friend.
Appreciate it. Anything you need, we're here.